What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another edition of ATL Three Style Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Leo G, and I'm with my boy Banks. What's going on, Banks?
What's up, Leo? Leo, how everybody doing out there in internet land? How y'all feeling?
Man, I hope everybody doing good, doing well, man. Got a lot to talk about, man. You know, especially on the heels of what just happened this past weekend. A lot of stuff going on in sports. As we talked about on the last podcast, Banks football is back, so we got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about and digest when it comes to that. And we'll talk about a few other things as well as along the way. I'm just excited to be back to do another podcast, man. Banks, I think you and I know that there are some surprising things coming up for the ATL Three Style Podcast, right? But everybody gonna have to stay tuned, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. Like I said, stay tuned. We got some important and some exciting stuff that we're about to reveal, and I can't wait.
Absolutely, man. It should be fun, man. And it's been a long time since we've been doing this, man. Shout out our brother Derrico as well, man. So, like I said, some big things we got on the horizon, man. And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, y'all will continue to rock with us, man, as we do this thing and talk about ATL sports. Before we get a little bit too far off into the show, Banks, let everybody know how to holler at our homeboy over there at Eastland.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Check out my boy Phil out there at Eastlands Woodworking Company for your woodworking needs. Anything like a coaster or ashtray or a plaque on the wall, anything that's special to you. We got football season coming up, so you can put your favorite team on a nice little keepsake like so, and scan that QR code and tell us that we sent you.
Absolutely, man. Holler at our boy, man. Also, man, got some other people that we need to feature as well. Give me your info, man, and let us know. We'll definitely get you on the show. And also, we always looking for guests. If you want to come on and chop it up with us, man, and talk some ATL sports or whatever in general, man, we down to talk about it. As long as you keep it PG, we'll be up to the challenge. I'm pretty sure Banks DMs will blow up because of that. All right. All right, Banks, man. Here we go, man. Let's talk about it, man. This past weekend had a couple of things going on, but we'll say the main event for the back half of the show, man. First thing to talk about here is the Braves. We'll talk about the Braves, man. They done lost 3 of the last 4, but they still got a 6.5 game lead in the NL East, anchored by Matt Olson, man. He's doing his thing over there. Had a crazy one against the Arizona Diamondbacks, man. I mean, they're still chugging right along, dude, here. I think they got a big series coming up, if I'm not mistaken, with the Dodgers here, man. But the Braves are still holding strong, what do you say?
On thin ice, brother. They just lost one to the Minnesota Twins yesterday. They got another one tonight. Listen, I don't know what's going on with this team, man. This pitching is a big weakness for them. I'm afraid that this is gonna be our downfall this year. Double A, man, he for everyone keeps saying that, he know what he's doing, I'm saying, kind of like sit back and weather the storm. But I mean, every team that you're basically going against trying to get to this division win or if a playoff spot, if you will, has upgraded. I'm talking about the likes of the Philadelphia Phillies and the Milwaukee Brewers and the LA Dodgers. Yes, they all have upgraded. And you just standing pat with these run of the mill kind of Rudy Poop kind of signings, like it's just gonna make a difference. Listen, we're doing what we're doing. We're trying to keep our head above water. Yes, we're 6.5 games up against for the Philadelphia Phillies, because look, they're not gonna back away. They still trying to get this division too. So um first things first, worry about Minnesota first, because it seems like they're giving us all the hell we can handle. Then we got to worry about the Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers in back-to-back series. So yeah, it's not looking good, what I'm saying, going forward, you know, trying to get out this season, brother, trying to be to the point where we can stay ahead and win this division.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hopefully they'll be able to hold up. Like you said, they got the Twins tonight. I think Tyler Molly is going to be starting. Then we got them tomorrow as well. Thursday taking on the White Sox, and then we'll have the Brewers up in Milwaukee coming up here pretty soon, man. Some injuries, you got Spencer Strider and Swellenbach. They still remain questionable return to the lineup. And then you got Lopez that's still on the 15-day IL. So it's just a lot of things going on over there. Like I said, they've been able to weather the storms here as of recent. And like you said, though, is the depth at the pitcher position going to be able to hold up and keep going, especially making that push into the playoffs, man. But it's gonna be a good test here. Like you said, coming up here with the Dodgers coming into town here. I think that will be next week, if I'm not mistaken, when the Dodgers come to town. Like I said, you got the Twins again tonight. You got the White Sox, and then you got the Brewers. So, man, I don't know. We'll see what happens with those Braves, man. Still too early to tell, in my opinion, when it comes to the Braves. All right, Banks. Listen, I don't know if you knew this or not, but there was a fight in town this past weekend. Did you know there was a fight in town this past weekend?
Absolutely not. What fight?
That was a big matchup, man. It was a big fight over at State Farm Arena, man. Clarissa Shields took on Kay Scott over there at State Farm Arena. There were a lot of big names, a lot of big people. Floyd Mayweather came out, man. I mean, I don't know. I knew about it. Like I said, I assumed, Banks, that you knew that it was a big fight going on, man. She ended up stopping Kay Scott, who was like some bum from Australia. Let me not call this lady a bum. But I think Clarissa Shields, fought at the middleweight level to reclaim the WBC and WBA titles. So it's been a long time since we've had a boxing match here in Atlanta at State Farm. I think last time it was like Javante Davis fought somebody over there, Tank. I can't remember, but shout out to Clarissa Shields, man. Doing it over there. And I think they had a couple of other novelty fights on the card as well. I was actually over at Mercedes-Benz for the Atlanta United match. We'll talk about that here in just a second, Banks. But I like to have boxing matches here in Atlanta, man. It's this city has a history of having some very significant fights here, going all the way back to the City Auditorium. So it's always cool to have boxing matches and MMA matches here. That's just for me. I like combat sport.
I guess I guess I ain't know anything about it, brother. I don't even know who is who. So yeah, we'll go with that.
All right, man. Listen, moving right along. Like I said, I was right across the street at Mercedes-Benz, man, on Saturday night as the Atlanta United took on the New York Red Bulls. Atlanta United's been struggling here. We talked about this before the World Cup, after the World Cup. We just don't know what's going on over there in Atlanta United land. It's trying to get some type of traction, trying to get some type of identity of feel, even though this season is pretty much a wash. Banks. They do end up taking a win. They come from behind. New York Red Bulls score early, but we end up coming back from behind, man. A goal from Muyumba, and then we also got a goal from Fafa Picat. Can't never pronounce his name right. But end up winning this one 2-1, man. It felt good to get a win over there in Mercedes-Benz after it's been so long, man. Muyumba scores goals in back-to-back games. Banks looks like he's very not interested in anything that's going on over there in United, man. Your thoughts about Atlanta United and what's going on, man? They got to win, Banks. They got to win.
Listen, I forgot we had a soccer team here, brother. That's how checked out I am. I do not care. I'm sorry. I checked out, brother. I do not know. I forgot they even played after the World Cup. So, okay, congrats, Atlanta United.
Wow. Yep. Atlanta United. That's the Atlanta United news. They actually played a game over there. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about it here, man. Atlanta Falcons start their season over there at Mercedes-Benz on Friday night. They took on the Denver Broncos, man. This was a very weird game. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of it in the meat of it here in just a second. There's a lot of stuff and a lot of reaction going on with this, and we'll do a deeper dive. Banks 27-7 is the final as they took on the Denver Broncos, a playoff team, a AFC Championship team, nonetheless, just a year ago. Banks 27-7. This is now real. This is now upon us. All the talk in camp about what was going on, all the signings that have made, we made, the extension with Drake London, the extension with Bijan, but now we finally put it on the grass against another team. This was weird. You were down there, man. I caught up with you, man. Doing our thing down at Mercedes-Benz. Just your initial thoughts, man. Just the excitement of preseason, man, and actually having football back before we actually get into the nuts and bolts of this game, man. It always feels good to be back at Mercedes-Benz for football, in my opinion. When you say,
"Oh yeah, absolutely," I think that was the reason why I was there. Kind of bringing back that feeling of football. Been a long summer, Leo. They actually say that football season is upon us. Well, not upon us, it's here. We're gonna have a football game every weekend till February. So I mean, yes, we're here. We're entrenched in it. That's why I was just getting all the feels from it, and it feels good. I enjoy being in Mercedes Benz. I think it was one of the top stadiums in the league. Um, it felt good to be in the building. So yeah, I caught up with you, and this felt, in the middle of August. It's still hot outside, but that crisp air feel in September and October, dude, is right around the corner, though, man. I don't know if you can be excited about that, but I know I am.
I yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I like football, man. I like the camaraderie of it, man. Especially Atlanta. The scene is like none other, man. Of course, obviously, if you haven't been to the A4 game, man, it's the tailgates, man. It's the atmosphere. It's everything there is about the birds. Even though here in Mercedes Benz, not a lot to cheer about, and Friday night was nothing to cheer about either. Preseason game lost to, like I said, the Broncos. Obviously, we know a lot about Sean Payton. Before we start talking a little bit more about what happened in the game, I just want to get this out because I talked to a few people about it. It's number one. I'm gonna keep preferencing this, people. It's still preseason, so I mean, we'll talk about how we actually feel about the product talk about how we feel about the product that we saw. But listen, Banks, you and I both know that Sean Payton has had it out for us since he's been the coach of that team down there in the boot. And I don't care if it's preseason, overseason, underseason, postseason. Sean Payton is going to whatever team he's coaching. I don't care if it was the 5-and-up over there at Ben Hill or Gresham Park. He's going to have his team up and ready to play for the Falcons. And he likes to take jabs and shots at this team because of his history with New Orleans. Listen, Banks, I don't have a problem with that. But I do know starting out, I felt some type of way about knowing the intensity that he was probably going to bring with it just being a preseason game. Even though he's, years removed from down there in the boot, he still has that same animosity, I guess, towards this city and his fan base. I kind of chuckled at it, but do you think, Banks, that there was any surprise that Sean Payton was going to bring the juice and probably throw shots and throw shade at this city and his fan base?
Absolutely not. He's a part of that Stinky Town organization down there before he left and went to Denver Broncos. Listen, I wouldn't think the other way. I think, man, you had this discussion before about the passion and the hate between the both two teams. And how I feel about it, and how it's kind of lopsided to me. And the thing is, matters is he said what he said, and he did it in our face. So no, I'm not surprised, Leo. That's what he's used to doing. And like I said, that's why when I see people losing their mind over it, I'm like, well, what are you getting mad about? I mean, he's not going to just one day be like, that's a good organization over there. No, he's going to say what he say and keep it moving. He's going to put our noses in it, if you will.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it is what it is. I felt it was kind of funny that he still thinks of us so highly. You know what I'm saying? Coach Payton does. Even though he's with another team, he's no longer a division rival. It's just like you said. Anytime he gets a chance to rub our noses in it, he's going to do that. So, and like I said, I think for a preseason game, he came out on all cylinders and ready to go. This team, and let's be real about it, Banks, man. As we talk about it, the Denver Broncos are in a totally different place than the Falcons are right now. I mean, I think they're set at quarterback with Bo Nix. Their defense is pretty stout. They added some weapons to the offense, man. So, I mean, all the way around, I mean, going into this preseason game, I think there was no mistake who the better team was on paper. And then, of course, obviously, they showed us who the better team was on the field. Do you think anybody was confused about who the better team is going into the season between the Broncos and the Falcons? Maybe I don't know. Maybe some people I talked to thought that this was a different story. I don't know.
No, I mean, listen, last time we played them in the regular season, they mollywopped us then. It was 32-6, I believe. Listen, they are a better team. I mean, hands down, front to back, up and down. They would, an injury away from being in the Super Bowl last year. We keep forgetting that. It should have been Broncos versus the Seahawks had Bo Nix not went down. But it happened the way it did, and the Patriots ended up going. So I mean, listen, they came in, they were ready to go. They were like they was in mid-season form, and they gave it to us, and they showed us what they were showing the league that, hey, we here, we back, and I'm not even understanding why it was a misunderstanding that who was a better team. It was night and day completely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, 27-7. Let's talk about the first couple of series as we learn from Kevin Stefanski, going into this game that the starters will be playing. Obviously, the past regimes, not so much uh, into putting starters out there on the field during preseason games. I think the last two regimes didn't put starters out on the field at all. I mean, we saw people come out and dress, and then, obviously they wanted to evaluate talent and so forth and so on. Banks, before the game even started, I saw something that was kind of unusual, and we'll talk about it here for just a second. We knew that the starters were going to play. We know what the deal is with Michael Penix Jr., but he's not been cleared for 11 on 11 or any contact. But he was out there dressed like he was going to play the game. I mean, he was out there full regalia, flak jacket and all. I don't know if this was, I mean, obviously this was by design. I felt I was a little shocked behind it, and I think that there was a lot behind it, and I'll talk about it here in just a second after we get your opinion on it. Banks, were you surprised to see Michael Penix Jr. fully dressed, even though we knew he wasn't going to play this preseason game? Did that surprise you a little bit?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's been on the 7-on-7 in training camp. Why not? Why would he not be there dressed up? I would hope he wouldn't be, if he's trying to be itching to get on the field, having all these, private interviews on podcasts saying that he wants to be on the field to be in t-shirt and shorts. He wants to be ready to be ready to be out there. Then yeah, go ahead and be suited up as if you were going out there. Even though you're not cleared, it tells me a lot as a fan that you're ready to go, and I have no problem with it. I was not surprised about it. Yeah, keep doing what you're doing and try to get back on that field.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was shocked because, like I said, in anytime there's, number one, this was a meaningless game. Number two, I just felt like there was a statement that was made by the organization stating that they're going to keep this young man moving and keep it to where he's going to be ready at any given moment whenever he's medically cleared to do so. Because usually when somebody's hurt, they're hurt. They're in jogging pants, they're on the sideline in shorts. You might see a quarterback with the earpiece in so you can still listen to plays. I just found it kind of unusual. And like I said, to me, I felt like it said a lot from the organization. Like, hey, you know what? Whenever this timeline is ready to go, we might have to go live fire drill with Michael. So we want to make sure that and this is a new regime. So obviously they want to make sure he's aware of how this new regime and Stefanski and his staff does things in the game time situations. So I did find it, me personally, a little unusual that he was dressed out, knowing that he hasn't been medically cleared. But like you said, man, you got to, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I think that's probably the going forward, what they want to do. The next game being this weekend against Indy, but we'll talk about that here in just a minute. All right, Banks. So listen, starters come out.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you right quick about that. And there's another thing about Michael Penix. He is already behind the 8 ball, talking about coming off an injury, learning a new system. Maybe it'd be the same system, but new verbiage in the system. I will hope that he will try his best, especially if he's not going to be playing in preseason. Leo, we've had this problem with him last season when he didn't play preseason at all, and we felt like he should have been in at least a couple of series to learn the verbiage at least. And you want him to go out there week one and try to win a game. Listen, for him to be out there in shirt, in pads and helmet and everything but being on that field, you got to be as close to the action as possible for me. And I'm saying, and I want Michael Penix to win that job, but you can't win it being in a t-shirt and watching from afar, So yes, I feel like he needs to be as close as the action as possible.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is something that's, and we haven't been in. This is unprecedented, I guess, in this organization with seeing where we've been. I mean, it's no secret that the quarterback position has been, the last several years very chaotic with this organization, to say the least. But yeah, let's see what Stefanski and his staff will do, bringing them along. Like I said, this weekend we'll have the Indianapolis Colts. They'll be up there this week. Joint practices. We'll talk about that here in just a second. And then they'll actually play a preseason game. I think the game is Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, Banks. I have to go back and look at it. See the Saturday or Sunday that they play the Colts up there in Indianapolis. But look, starters go out the first Saturday. Saturday. So we got the preseason against the Colts. So starters out, we see them first couple of series here in this game. And let me tell you something. Um, you know, it wasn't pretty at all. It wasn't. There was a lot of disappointment. This is a preseason game, and Banks, I kind of joked with you after the game, and I mean, obviously, all eyes were on the starters to see what they were going to do in the first series, right? Obviously, you wanted to see the starters go out. You wanted to see some cohesiveness. They're back in camp. Everybody's out there, So you want to say, hey, starters go out here, do their thing. What's up? Minus Bijan Robinson, minus Drake London. Obviously, we had Kyle Pitts out there on the field. The offensive line, somewhat of how it's going to be with Jake Bergeron, obviously Chris Lidstrom. The right tackle position, a little shaky over there at best. I think they were playing a rookie over there at the right tackle, but it looked. The only way I could say what I could say from what I saw out of the offense was it just looked disconnected. It looked like they they weren't on the same page. Nobody's on the same page, which is a bit concerning with the quarterback situation. Tua actually started, and it just looked like they were not all on the same page, and they were not prepared. Banks, is this because to me personally, I feel like this is kind of coaching. It looked like they were unprepared. It looked like Sean Payton had his team prepared, ready to go, ready to rock. They knew that the starters were coming out on the field. And the Falcons were like, oh, okay, we're the starters. We're going to come out here for a couple of series. It's scripted anyway, whoop the whoop. But it just looked like they just were not into it at all. So a lot of people wanted to blame the players. A lot of people say, oh, Tua sucked. He looks like trash. This person did this offense. I look at this more of a preparation thing. And this is people got to understand too, this is a new regime. This is a new setup. We don't know how this transitioned from last year to this year's setup and what they were able to do and go out there for the first preseason game. But for me personally, I don't necessarily say I want to put this all on the players, offensively or defensively, even though Jeff Ulbrich is still there. It just looked like to me a lack of preparation, and they kind of just was trying to figure it all out. But I don't know, maybe you had a different take. Maybe you felt like, yeah, this was all on the players and they just looked like crap. I don't know.
It looked like they started training camp that day. You know what I'm saying? That's how unprepared they looked. You know what I'm saying? I had told you when I was at the game that my concern was the offensive line. They were getting beat up that whole entire first and second drive. It was concerning to me, yes. Not really at the same time, like you said, it was a new regime, a new, installment of different packages. I get it. I totally get it. But that right side, so it's gonna have me losing sleep at night. You know what I'm saying? If you having a different player on that right side each and every practice, and you don't have no kind of continuity, no kind of gel, just cohesiveness of that particular line. Yeah, you got your left side and the center, they doing their thing day in and day out. But that right side is a revolving door. And I don't know. I don't know. It just
The
looked like it.
tackle,
It looked like it was just
the right tackle,
right,
the right tackle.
right
Yeah, it
tackle,
was
right
yeah.
side, right, whatever. The right. And it just looked like it was just discombobulated. And it was like, I don't understand what was going on over there. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, maybe they're getting together. Like I said, again, and I keep saying back to myself, like you said, it's preseason. You don't have to really look good and have no style points or anything like that. But at the same time, you will hope to have some kind of advancement. Hell, we didn't even get a first down with that group, and that was disheartening. We can't even move the ball. That was reminiscence of last season's. Like, well, here we are, we still having offense problems, with or without Bijan, with or without Drake London. Didn't matter. It's just we're just not doing it. We're not moving. It's stagnant, and it's disheartening. And a lot of
Like I said,
fans,
yeah.
leaving that stadium, walking out with them, listening to them talk, and it was almost like a here we go again. What else is new? You know what I'm saying? And you hate hearing stuff like that in preseason game number one. Preseason game number one, you want to have some type of optimism, some kind of positive of talking, but you didn't. You heard all the naysay and this is what we got to look forward to and blah 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 blah. It was disheartening, Leo, to say the least.
I mean, I get it, man. It was disheartening. I mean, it's still preseason. Here's the thing. Here's my take on this, man. We've been doing this thing for a long time with the Falcons, man. And no shade to anybody, but yeah, I did hear a lot of chatter. And like I said, went on social media, you know what I'm saying, during the game and immediately after the game. And there were, and some people just do this for the clicks. But you saw the just epic crash outs of some of these fans. And it's like, I mean, I get it. You know, if you had expectations of this team coming out, on the first series, going 12 plays, 96 yards, and scoring a touchdown, two of the Kyle in the end zone. Like, if those are your expectations, you got every right to be mad. Those were not mine. I have realistic expectations. And to be honest with you, Banks, I had no expectations going into this preseason matchup. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just out there trying to see just like everybody else. So, for me, like with these fans that are crashing out and big disappointment, you must have had some high expectations. So, I mean, I would tell everybody to temper your expectations. So better yet, don't have any expectations at all. No expectations, no disappointment. So you want to be all on social media crashing out because you expected to see an all-world offense. Like you said, it was minus Bijan Robinson, and it was also minus Drake London. Yes, there are some issues on the right side of the offensive line, but I mean, I personally don't know what everybody, was expecting to see. And yes, it looked dysfunctional, it looked disorganized, it looked very chaotic. So hopefully they'll get this together. So we won't see much here in Indy with the first string because that'll be all behind closed doors. We'll have to go with media reports or whatever that we get from up there in Indy when they do the joint practices. But like I said, if you had high expectations for the first game and were disappointed, hey, it is what it is at this point. Flipping it over to the defense, let's go over there. They didn't look much better. Obviously, we understand the dynamic with the defense and what's going on. We kind of felt like offensively we could hold our own, but defensively we got a lot of struggles. If you didn't know, James Pierce Jr. is going to be out for 8 games. I think he's suspended. Jalen Walker, also our first round pick from a year ago, he tore his ACL and he's going to be out. And then there's the question of, hey, where is the pass rush going to come from? Because, I want to say about between Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., that was probably a good chunk of your pass rush and your sacks there. And then also Caden Ellis, Leonard Floyd, some of those guys that were here from a year ago aren't there. So then there was the no pass rush. And, I think Jarrett Stidham just standing back there, just picking the defense apart. I think for the most part, defensively, there were a lot of question marks over there. And that's where the concern was. We'll talk about what the Falcons tried to do to address that in just a minute, though. But Banks, your expectations with this defense, man, given what I just told you, was there anything that you thought you were going to see different, or did you pretty much have a feeling that this was pretty much what you were going to see from the first team defense on this past Friday?
Well, I didn't expect Stedham to pick this defense apart like that. No, I did not. I kind of was expecting to see some, flying to the ball, kind of, no rhyme or reason, kind of scheming. But it seemed like, again, going back to what the Broncos were doing, they were actually looking in their playbook. They were taking 40-yard deep passes and doing all these misdirection running get plays. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? And it's like we was caught with our pants down and we were just allowing first down after first down after first down. I don't think we ever got them in third and long at all. Like, I don't think it was ever a point it was third and long, like ever. And I never heard the guy say it's third down. I never heard that. And I was like, man, that's crazy to me. Like, I kind of expect the offense to do that, but not the defense. Well, for me, I felt like the defense was going to be the shining light for me of the season, and that was disheartening and disappointing for me to see them give up that touchdown so fast. And it was like, all right, well, we know it. Hopefully, it can't be because of a guy that's not there anymore because we're just looking like this, but hey, it might be, unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, we're missing several pieces that were there, obviously, from last year. And once again, preseason, I knew there were going to be a lot of holes to fill, a lot of voids over there on that defensive side of the ball to get it together. So, and like I said, it's Sean Payton and the Falcons. I don't care what you say. There was some juice with him in this game. It was a preseason game, but yet I could be wrong, but I personally feel like it. Like I just said, I prefaced this before we started talking about this game, that anytime Sean Payton has the opportunity to go out and swing for the fences against the Atlanta Falcons, he's going to do so. I think I saw some blitz. I'm like, who blitzes in preseason? Like, they out there blitzing, like you said, they're out there running counters and tosses and 40-yard bump. Like, man, who does this? Hey, and maybe the Falcons were playing vanilla. Maybe they were playing, scripted football and they didn't want to give everything up. Obviously, like you said, you don't want to see that, and it's kind of disappointing. When you don't see a team do anything well. It was no kind of bright spots. Well, it was a couple of bright spots. We'll talk to him in just a second. But yeah, I think Sean Payton just went out of his way to do what he needed to do and kind of rub this in. So it is what it is, man. So listen, I'm gonna tell you one thing, and I think we can agree on this when I say this. That second guy they put out, I'm not even gonna say his name. That second guy they put out there, at quarterback, like, I would literally take money out of my own pocket to get rid of him. Like, I don't even think he should have got back. He should have even went back to the locker room. And I know they signed him for depth because of this chaotic quarterback situation they got going on. But that guy they put in there the second go round, man, I know Tua at least completed some passes to Kyle Pitts. I don't know if did Cooper Rush even complete a pass, because that was horrible. That was complete. And to be a veteran, I mean, even though he's been around the league, several teams, multiple teams, but that looked horrible. That very much looked unacceptable. I think he threw 2 picks, if I'm not mistaken, in 2 series.
Yeah. I wasn't too upset about what he was doing because I know he's not going to be there. When he got, brought into the Falcons, when we had Trevor Siemian and we released him and we brought in Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush said he didn't even bring him. He just brought a little small suitcase because he knew he wasn't going to be there that long. So why are we crashing out over a guy that's not expecting to be there? Listen, I mean, he's just here for a camp body to have an arm to throw the ball, so it won't be just one person doing it. I didn't take nothing serious about what he did. What he did was what he did, and okay, see you later. Come in 2 weeks, he will be somewhere else. So people, focus your energy on something else because that ain't it. Cooper Rush is a temporary face around these parts.
Like I said, it was just funny to see, man. Me personally, man, the fan in me wanted for them not even let him go back to the locker room. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we always see that Hard Knock skit where the guy put his code in and tried to get in the building, and he was already cut. That's
denied.
Right. That's the meme I wanted to see, like, after that game, like, get him out of here, man. Shout out our boy Primetime Ray. Yeah, man. Obviously the fan buyout. Yes, get him out of here, man. Send him back to wherever he came from, man. I mean, this is a business, man. Ain't no hard feelings, but that did not look good at all. So listen, man. So let's talk about
they wanted. Everybody, so they wanted him out of Baltimore. So I mean, we should have known what we were about to get our hands on, what we're expecting out of this man. So nothing to see here.
You give people a shot, man. And I guess, like you said, they needed a warm body to throw some passes, man. Obviously, they brought him in. But I'm with you, Banks. I don't think he makes this roster. I could be wrong. I mean, you got a young, strong guy that you feel some type of way about that came out of Morehead State that was behind him. Obviously, we'll talk about him later on. I don't want to talk about him today because there's a couple of other things I want to talk about this game and about some other things. So we'll talk about him maybe next week moving forward after we watch the Indy game, because I'm pretty sure I just had his name. What's his name, Banks?
Jack Strand.
Jack Strand. We'll talk about, my apologies, we'll talk about Jack Strand after the Indy game, because I'm pretty sure he will get a lot of PT, man. He did score his first NFL touchdown, if that even matters on the sneak. But anyway, I digress. So we talked about Jalen Walker not, being absent with the torn ACL. We know what our fate is with James Pierce Jr. He won't be back until the Madrid game over when we play the Cincinnati Bengals, 8-game suspension for him. So the Falcons knew that we were hurting. We need some pass rush. Today they go out and sign, I think, Zadarius Smith. journeyman pass rusher. I think he's been with several teams. Obviously, I don't think he was with anybody last year. Had to work out with the Falcons on yesterday, and there was rumored that he was going to sign with the Browns. Obviously, the Falcons locked the door and let him out of the building. He signs with the Falcons on like I think it was like a 1 year deal, $6 million. I mean, we needed all the bodies we could get. Was it a sexy signing? No, but once again, we need all the help that we could get. Is this going to be prime Zadarius Smith when he was with the Ravens or the Eagles for that matter? Hell no. But like I said, at this point, it's like all hands on deck. You know what I'm saying? You need all the help that you can get. Bring some bodies. Look to see some more signings at pass rush or at defensive line after this Colts game to see where we are to evaluate, man, how much more help do we need? Because I think those are the two holes that we look to fill with Jalen and James Pierce Jr. Also, we didn't see Avion Terrell out there on the defense. I don't think we saw Jesse Bates either out there on the defense. Did we see Xavier White out there? I'm not. I know we saw AJ Terrell out there doing whatever he did. So we didn't see Xavier Watts either, right? So secondary,
Nope.
yeah. So secondary,
Nope.
from a secondary
Nope.
standpoint, we didn't see any of the people that we're probably. I know we did see the other dude, Mike Hughes. I don't even really want to talk.
Don't say his name.
Yeah, I'm not even
Don't
gonna
say
bring
his
that
name.
up either. I'm not even gonna bring that up either. So yeah, so that's the preseason game in a nutshell, man, against the Denver Broncos, man. Obviously, man, a lot of Falcons fans very disappointed, 27-7, but it's still a preseason game. It's still a lot of football left, people. Am I saying that to say that they're gonna turn this around overnight? No. This is not going to be something that's going to be turned around overnight. It's going to be a process, and it's going to take the will of this organization and staff to see like how much of a football team, how much of a product that they could get to be successful this year. That's the one thing I could take away from that preseason game, that this is going to be a patience project of Job to see what exactly you're going to get week one when we go up to Pittsburgh. But let's talk about the psychology of this, Banks, man. Like, just, yeah, it's been 8 years going on 9 of this team not making the playoffs, man. I mean, obviously, yes, fans are hungry for something. They want to see some type of inkling of some type of success or something to make them feel warm and fuzzy. And there just wasn't anything on Friday night. But like the psychology of this fan base is crazy to me, Banks, because you got people like me that, pretty much at this point, man, I don't have really any expectations. I try to stay positive. I try to stay optimistic, but at the end of the day, I'm still a realist. I know what I'm looking at. But you would think like these people that, like I said, I'm hoping a lot of it is rage bait, but just crash outs in the just crazy sideways comments that you saw from a lot of the fan base after the game. Are you shocked? Did this fan base shock you anymore with how they act from a psychological standpoint in their relationship with this team, man?
No, absolutely not. And why people are shocked about it, which is I don't find I find that's shocking that you find that shocking. These fans are, like you just said, they want to be happy or excited about something, and this team has not given you anything. And I'm talking about going as far as back as 2017. You went to that very last playoff game that you did in Philadelphia, where you should have won, by the way, but you didn't. And ever since, you've been mediocre or worse. And I think a lot of fans have a lot of frustration. No, I don't blame them at all. A lot of that rage bait, that crashing out is warranted. Listen, you going out here with a brand new organization, a brand new coaching staff, a brand new, I guess, way of thinking. You're bringing back Matt Ryan, who a lot of these fans who didn't even want to, say that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the franchise history. But I digress. You have people out there who just want anything to say, I feel good about the season. Falcons have not done that. They look the same. You know what the Falcons were last preseason? 0-3. You know what they were before that? 0-3. You know what they were before that? 0-3. Listen, it's old. Everybody keeps saying each year is different, but it seems like it runs together. What I'm saying? You go 0-3 and finish the season 7-10 or 8-9 or 7-10, or it's the same repeating thing. And a lot of folks are pissed about it. No, I don't blame them. The crash out is warranted. I mean, listen, You got a guy in Kevin Stefanski, okay, a guy who came from probably one of the worst organizations in the league in Cleveland Browns, and you want this man to come in and change your franchise around. And the first thing he did on the first preseason, or the chance that he gets, is have a team that doesn't look like they're prepared. And what else do you want these people to think? You want them to be like, okay, well, everything is a lot of pops and rainbows. We'll sit here and we'll wait on you, Coach Stefanski. No, they're not going to do that, Leo. They're going to sit there and think the worst, and they're going to go out as far as say, hey, wake me up when
Sky's
y'all
falling.
ready to do something.
Sky's falling. Sky's
Hey,
falling.
so I
Huh?
mean, listen, so I mean, at the same time, I mean, it's been 8 years going on 9. What do you want these fans to do? Okay, it's people are tired. They are tired, and you know what? You know what? The thing is, you have to show it and prove otherwise. Until then, man,
Listen, man. This is one preseason game. I'm not gonna go out like I saw a lot of people do and just take the bait. Oh yeah, man. This is it, man. 0-16, here we come. Oh man, yeah, I get it. And like you said, Banks, I will say this much. Maybe this is warranted. It's self-inflicted of what the organization has done and the reputation that they have had with the fans since, like you said, 2017. But my thing is, at the end of the day, I'm still a realist. But at the end of the day, man, it's a preseason game. It's a meaningless game. If you wanted to see something that you didn't get to see, it's almost like you woke up on Christmas to look up under the Christmas tree and there were no gifts. Okay, all right, Santa didn't bring you a gift for the preseason game. I get it. It's a lot of football left. Either you gonna put like this here, man. I hope you have enough energy to have a lot more crash outs. That's probably what you're gonna do. You're probably gonna be a little more disappointed. Coming up here for the rest of the season. So don't think that what I'm saying. Like I said, this is one thing I tell people all the time, man. If you don't have no patience, you don't need to be no Falcons fan at all, at all. Just go ahead and jump off the wagon now. Matter of fact, Banks and I will purchase the jersey of your new team if you want to jump off this wagon. Let us know, because this ain't for the faint of heart. This is for people that you have to have some patience with the history of this team, man. So yeah, Banks, I think for the most part, some of it is a little warranted because everybody's just frustrated with the lack of success thereof and not seeing a playoff game here in Mercedes-Benz. But hey, listen, let's be patient. Let's see what this thing. This is a new coaching staff. It's a new regime. Whether you hate it or you love it, you got to give these guys some time. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We'll have our Falcon season preview here coming up here in a couple of weeks. We'll give our, expectations and what we feel like is going to happen. We're going to look at the schedule, do a deep dive, and see where we think as fans will end up at the end of the season, Bank. So going into Indianapolis, man, what do you think they need to? I mean, obviously everything, but what do you think the main thing should be focused on with these joint practices up in Indy? Me personally, if I could just say one thing, it would be like the organization and getting the cohesiveness together with these joint practices.
yeah, you want to see some kind of positive ascension of the offense and defense. You want something to. You don't want a first was that first series touchdown you gave up, and then on your term of the first series you go 3 and out. Like, that is not what you want to do. I mean, that's exactly what happened against the Broncos. You went 3 and out and you gave up a touchdown in the first series. That's just that's BS. It's like, damn, what are we doing? You want to see some kind of improvement. Hopefully, you don't have Tua out there doing the Pee Wee Herman out there. After, I don't know if I see the video of him dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just have no words in the world, and you just had that big old stinker. So yeah, go ahead and keep doing your dance, sir. Go out there and do something. What I'm saying, productive with the offense. Hopefully, we'll see some good news coming from the joint practices. This game coming up, folks who's been watching, who's kind of the casual fans on the fence, if you will. I'm kind of speaking to you. If you're watching Saturday's game, hoping for something different, I'm gonna have news for you. Be prepared to see another kind of disappointment game, because this is going to be your second and probably your back end of your second and your third string players playing probably the whole entire game. So um I don't know what to tell you. If we lose that game, that preseason game, which is probably no one really gives a flip about, then
Yeah,
I mean, I think this is the weekend probably you want to stay off social media because I don't want to hear all the, why uh Cooper Rush is still on the team and why he gave up another interception. And I it okay, listen, we're talking about Cooper Rush here, okay? A guy who I'm hoping we don't see on Sundays, okay? Because if you see him on Sundays, that means
some went
something went
terribly wrong.
terribly wrong, and we're in the top three in the draft next year. So
Listen, if we
yeah,
see, listen,
there should be
I would,
no way
I
you
would
thinking
call
about
for our
Cooper
boy.
Rush right
I call for our boy Ray, man, to suit up, man. Shout out our boy Primetime Ray over there. I call for him to come suit up if we got to see another down to Cooper Rush. Damn it, I definitely would put his name in the hat to come out there and start, man. Obviously, yes, Banks. I'm glad you said that, man. Temper your expectations. This game Saturday is pretty much going to be an evaluation of talent. That's what preseason has always been, an evaluation of talent. And yes, you do want to see wins, but at the end of the day, you will hope that the staff can look, evaluate, like you said, Banks. Hey, Cooper Rush is out of here. So and so is out of here. We need to get on the free agent wire. We need to do what we need to do to get prepared for week one. And that's what we want, obviously, to be looking toward is getting prepared, seeing who could come in and getting us better, and seeing where we can improve. So when we go up to Pittsburgh week one, we can at least put a respectable team out there on the field. Obviously, we know we're not going to see the starters this game here. I would be surprised if we did see, the likes of Bijan Robinson or Jesse Bates or some of the other starters here in the third game. Even though Stefanski said we will see starters in the third game, I think that we probably, it'll be some starters that we won't see in that third game. So I don't know, man. Like I said, everybody needs to just step back. Yes, folks, I see you. You ain't got no patience. Yeah, I get it, man. A lot of people don't have no patience. But like I said, man, if you want to jump, jump. Now's the best time, man. If you don't have no faith, go ahead and leave. We're not gonna hold it against you. If you don't have no patience and you don't think this thing will ever get right, I get it, man. I've been doing this thing for so long, man. I guess I got, my PTSD, everything is just, I'm at a place where I'm kind of like whatever. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is at this point. I'm gonna enjoy football, like Banks said at the beginning of the episode, man. I enjoy football. I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy seeing my fellow Falcons fans because the atmosphere is like none other, man. I tell you what, man, for an organization that doesn't have the history that, a lot of other organizations have, Banks, we're still going to have a good time. That's one thing I will say. We're still going to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? We're going to tailgate. It's going to be a party. We might goddamn get stomped 45 to nothing, but we're going to have we're going to look good, too. The fans are going to look good. We're going to look good, and we're going to go out there. We're going to have a good time. I will say that much. But yeah, man, this is going to be a pack your patience type year. And like I said, we'll get into more of that when we get into our season preview here coming up in a couple of weeks. And then we'll also have something special after the very first game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Also coming up next week, Banks, we'll have our UGA. We'll do our UGA preview on next week. That'll be the next podcast. We'll talk about some college football and let everybody know where we are with what Kirby's doing up there in Athens, man. Been hearing a lot of stuff out there at Athens, and also talk about the new landscape of college football because this thing is changing and evolving every day. It's getting weirder and weirder, but we'll talk about that on next week. All right, man, Banks, listen, we're at the mark coming up to close this thing out, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, man, other than that Mercedes-Benz being disappointed.
now. You can find me on Antoine Terrell Banks on Facebook or Baby Banks 80 on Instagram.
Also, man, catch us on all of the social media platforms if you're still there, man. ATL 3 Style, man. We thank everybody for subscribing. YouTube, Twitch, and if you're still there on Facebook, we appreciate you guys watching this live. Like I said, got a lot of big things coming up, man. Like I said, if you want to shout out, man, like I said, shout out our boy Primetime Ray. Shout out our boy Stokes, man, for definitely checking in with us and leaving some comments, man. Listen, also, I want to say this much. If you're still hanging in with us, if you want to be a part of our Falcons preview show, hit us up and hit me or Banks up, man. We'll get you in. Last year, we had a couple of guests come on our Falcons preview show and gave their opinion on how the season was going to go. So that turned out pretty good. So obviously, hit us up. Let us know if you want to be a part of that. That'll be here in a couple of weeks. I think we'll do the Falcons preview, if I'm not mistaken, the day after Labor Day, which will be I want to say that'd be September the 7th, if I'm not mistaken, Banks. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong. September the 7th for the Falcons preview show.
Yeah, I think that's the 7th. I think that's some Tuesday.
That's a Monday.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
yeah,
you're
so
right.
Monday
Yeah,
will be Labor Day. Labor Day. So we'll be
Monday.
doing the
Okay.
Falcons preview show on September the 7th. All things Falcons. We'll deep dive after the preseason, and we'll go line by line, game by game. Banks and I give our analysis from a fan's perspective. We're also going to do something different, and I haven't discussed this with Banks, but we're going to talk about the games. If you are a Falcons fan and you don't come to any games, we're going to tell you what games to circle to come to at home. We're going to tell you what games to circle if you want to travel and go away. Banks and I give our analysis on that and tell you which games we feel like you don't want to miss as a Falcons fan. So we got a lot of stuff that we're going to pack into that show. And then like I said, next week we're going to talk about UGA and some college football. And then, we're just going to keep it rolling. We'll also come back and talk about Atlanta United. We'll talk about the Braves, and we'll talk about the Dream as well in the upcoming episodes, man. Thanks. Listen, man, it's been another edition of the ATL Freestyle Podcast, man. We appreciate it, man, and we look forward to doing this next week, right?
Absolutely. Y'all tune in and hit that subscribe button if you get a chance to.